Cool to rummage.
So, but, oh, sorry. Yeah, well,
You're getting all them.
I've played these, but yeah, carry on.
Damn. I've just been tipped off that there's a huge stack of games at the charity shop for me to go and rummage through. So let's get into it. Little shoes. Alrighty, alright. Cool to rummage.
So, but, oh, sorry. Yeah, well,
You're getting all them.
I've played these, but yeah, carry on.
Damn.
So I just put a TV on top of that. Yeah. So I was like, oh, it'd be good just to stack them to save some space. So I ended up buying this like garage racket.
Yeah,
Pretty
kind of ideal though, isn't it? Like that corner unit for these tallies. Like,
yeah. Well, obviously the weight though, because normally you only put one bar in, but that TV will go straight through. So I just put the other bar in. Luckily I had extra bars, so I'm not using all the shelves you get.
yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty risky. It was 175 kilos for sure.
Oh yeah. Have you tried the TV?
Yeah, I tested it all before I put it. Yeah. I checked that only the other day. I checked that one out. But just take it down, so I was going to put it in the bag.
No problem.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, catch you in a bit. Cheers.
Is it your break, is it?
Yeah. I thought I'll wait until after work, but then I was like, you know what? I want it.
I had the same idea, you just beat me to it.
How was it?
Moments.
Sorry, man.
It's alright.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Alright, cheers. Yeah, thanks. Cool. Yeah, I thought it might be a little. Yeah. Alright, cheers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, pissed. Lovely. I can't believe it. We missed out. We were that close. That guy must have got there moments before we got there. Picked through the things that he wanted. Ah, god damn it. There were some good titles in that stack of games that he had. There was PS1, GameCube, 360, PS2. Oh, there were so many things. At the time, I was a little bit pissed. I had that feeling of missing out and feeling like, oh, I just lost out on these really good deal and getting these awesome games. But I still came away with an awesome stack of games. Let's get into everything I picked up. Picked up Crash Team Racing on the PS1. It is a little bit damaged there on the manual. It's got some water damage to it, so it's a bit of a shame. But I do have another copy, so hopefully I can switch the parts out and make the ultimate copy. Picked up Rayman 3D on the 3DS. It's not an expensive game or anything like that. I think it goes for like £3 or £4 or something. But I was just caught up in the hype, picking up all the games, and it was a new one I hadn't seen on the shelf before, so I added it to my pile. Complete with the manual and everything as well. Now, the one thing that other guy didn't get his hands on was this stack of Game Boy Advance. There's no absolutely crazy titles for the Game Boy, but we did get Ice Age 2. All of these are complete in-box with the manuals and cardboard sleeves, all that jazz. Ice Age 2, $2.99. Alex Rider Stormbreaker. Now looking at the back, this one actually looks really good, so I'm keen to give this one a try and play it myself. All of these are going in the collection, by the way. I'm trying to make an effort to collect Game Boy Advance box stuff when I see it for a reasonable price. And usually if it's not a reasonable price, I might pick it up as well. If it's something I really, really want. Monsters Inc. for the Game Boy Advance, complete in box. These are all really good condition boxes as well. I was so surprised of like how well kept these were, and like to find these in a charity shop, what? Someone in the area must have just been clearing out their collection and donated a whole bunch of stuff at once. I'm just glad I got some of the pickings. And last but not least, for the Game Boy, we got Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. I'll open this one up just so you can see the condition of these. Like this game's even still in the original plastic sleeve. Like that's how good a condition this all is. Let me get the manual out and show you that. Look at that. Looks like it's never even been out the box. Now, as I was saying, they're not any heavy hitters or anything like that. I mean, I think this one you can command about a tenner at the maximum. In this condition, I would probably charge a tenner at least for it. The other Game Boy games definitely aren't worth that, but you just can't deny picking up boxed, complete Game Boy Advance games in a charity shop. Next up, we got a stack of PS2. We picked up Theme Park World, paid 99p for that one. Also paid 99p for SSX on the PS2. I've got SSX Tricky on the Gamecube, and I thought, why not pick up SSX on the PS2 as well? I know that SSX Tricky is the much loved one. It's like the fully crazy, all of the insane things, tricky, all that stuff. But I actually think I prefer this one. It's a little bit cleaner, a little bit more refined, less going on, and you can actually concentrate on trying to steer the snowboard rather than press a million buttons while you're in the air and then land on your head. But I'm looking forward to giving this one a play. Now, a game from a series I've never played before, Extreme Legends Dynasty Warriors 3. This is a really nice copy of the game, and I'm not sure if it's like a turn-based fighting game or whether it's just like an open world RPG, run around, do what you like kind of deal. But I paid $2.49 for it. It looks like a good playthrough, so I'm keen to load this one up and have a good sesh on it. Some Sunday coming in the future. And the last PS2 game I got was a Ridge Racer V5. Unfortunately, there's no manual with this one. It's just the disc only, but the disc is in pretty decent condition. I love a good racing game, and I never really had my time with Ridge Racer as a kid, so I'm happy to load this one up, have a play through it. If it doesn't take my fancy, I'll happily sell it on, because this one can command anywhere from like £8 to £15. Paid $2.49 for that one as well. To end off this gaming stash, we got 3 Xbox 360 games. Batman Arkham Origins. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have the manual either, but it is a double disc, like an install disc and then the play disc. It was an interesting time on the Xbox 360 before it merged to the Xbox One, and you had to get 2 discs and you had to install it before you could play it because the games were getting too big for what the console could take at the one time. Ah, how technology developed. But I kind of paid up for this one, kind of mistakenly as well, I think. It was £4.49 for this game, and if I want to sell it on eBay, it sells from like £8 to £12. And again, that's including the manual and the inserts and everything, so I'm going to be looking on the lower end of all of that. This one I just picked up because I hadn't seen it in the stack of games before. When you see a new game in the usual pile at your local charity shops, you got to pick it up. Final Fantasy 13 on the Xbox 360. I paid 99p for this one. It's not a high price game or anything like that. I think it only commands like £2 or £3 on eBay. But when you see something that isn't FIFA or Pro Evolution Soccer or NHL 2007, it's nice to pick up. And the final 360 game was Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2. Again, paid up. It was £4.49 for this game. It does have the manual, but the disc is just terrible, really. It needs a good clean, and even after a good clean, I think it's gonna need a good clean. So it'll be interesting to see if that one works. I'm not sure if you guys have played this one before, if you're familiar with this kind of game. It's like a RTS, real-time strategy game, commanding the different areas of your army, probably archers over here, attacking some orcs over there. Similar to like Halo Wars or Command and Conquer, those kind of games, but in Lord of the Rings theme. Was commonly played a lot on the PC as well, just because it's the ease of using a mouse. But I'm looking forward to loading up the 360 and giving this one a go. The final game from that stack isn't a digital one. It was Tantrix. It's like a travel board game, tile game. You get these little tiles and you sort of have to match them up and build like a path along the whole way. But I was having this thought yesterday about, I've got a stack of board games over there and I don't mind waiting to list them until closer to Christmas because it's going to command a higher value for a board game. People might buy them as gifts, they want to play them with their family. But stuff like this, if it's a travel game, you want to list this around the summertime because that's when people are out on holidays and they might pick up something to play on the go. So even though they're all games, they're actually popular in different seasons. Is that something you do? Do you hold on to stock and wait for the right season to list it? Or do you just chuck everything up as you get it? That was everything from that game stack. But I've got some other finds that I thought I'd just show you. I picked up in the charity shop over the last couple of days. There's also a couple of games that I picked up after using a trade-in voucher at CEX. I traded in a bunch of games that I bought originally when I first set up my store. They've sat around for ages. They were low price games and they were doing nothing for me, just sitting there. So I've traded them in, got a £40 voucher, and I can put that towards something I actually want. So the first thing we picked up was Mario Golf Toadstool Tour for the GameCube. Really happy with this. I've been needing more co-op games for the GameCube, and this is one that I didn't have much time with as a kid. I remember playing it at youth clubs and things like that. I never owned it. Again, I never had a GameCube as a kid, so I'm reliving some lost nostalgia. It also came with a Mario Sunshine poster, the Player's Choice Edition, and then again some promo for their other games on the back. I'm a sucker for the posters and I'm actively trying to fill up my walls and ceiling and as many places as we can with gaming related posters. Let's turn this into a game cave. The second game I picked up after recently getting it on the PS1 as well is Donald Duck's Quack Attack on the PS2. This game is in really good condition, so that's why I mainly picked it up from CEX. I've seen it on Facebook Marketplace, I've seen it in a couple of windows in charity shops and it's been sun faded or there's been cracks on the case and stuff like that. This one looked pretty perfect. The manual's inside, the disc's in really good condition. Happy with this one and looking forward to loading it up. Then in a charity shop just over the road from CEX, they had DuckTales volumes 1, 2 and 3. Really happy to find these, just a little bit of nostalgia. I'm not going to sell these on, I'm going to add them into the collection, stick them on the TV when I'm pottering around in here doing some reselling bits and bobs. On to the other finds from my local charity shop. So yesterday we picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles DVD, The Best of Leonardo. Paid 49p for this one. I picked up a Transformers DVD, Battling the Predacons. Can't say it's one I've heard of before, but again, you can just chuck it on in the background. Now I had some weird thinking here, but I've got an official Disney Store Stitch plushie, and when I spotted the Lilo and Stitch DVDs, I thought if I pick all 3 of them up, I might be able to make a custom bundle, attach it to the plushie. If the plushie's going for 20 on its own, maybe I can charge 30 quid just by adding these in. Who knows? Let's try it. Experiment. You never know what's going to work until you do it. Then the last DVD we picked up is a bolo, something you should be looking out for. Mac and Me DVD. It's like a spin-off of E.T. It's a really weird looking film. It's from the 80s, but this DVD was actually released in 2010. Obviously this was on VHS way before. But weirdly, this DVD sells for like 15 to 20 to 25 pounds on eBay. So if you spot this, especially for 49p, definitely pick it up and let me know how it sells for you. We're going to give it a watch through first and see how bad it is, and then sell it on and make some money. A couple of figures we picked up. I wasn't sure what this was at first, but after some research, I found out it's an Action Force Q4 Force figure from like the 70s or 80s, I believe. You're looking at like 15 to 20, maybe 25 pounds on this guy as well. We've got the figure, his little scuba boat, and his scuba gear in there as well. Decent find. The second figure was a biker mice from Mars with all of his little bits. Unfortunately, there's no motorcycle to go with him. The other ones I've seen online though, his body armor is like orange kind of color, and that's the same on all of the other listings, whereas this one, he's red, and I swear he was red. This isn't one of those butterfly effect things, is it? What do you remember? Was he red or was he orange? But decent find, and at the same time as getting those figures, I also picked up these Heelys. Brand new, never worn. There is some wear on them, but I believe that was just someone with grubby hands might have picked the shoe up and tried to inspect it. It's got the wheels and everything in there, never opened. They're like a bright pink ice cream color as well, so you won't be missed riding them down the street. They're a UK size 1 though, that is the problem. So if you know anyone that's looking for a pair of ice cream Heelys and they've got size 1 feet, let me know. I can't find this exact design, but I've seen similar Heelys on eBay sell for around 20 to 25 pounds. There was a stack of like blank sealed CDs and DVDs, so I scanned through them to see which ones were worth it. They were all $2.99. I picked up 50 TDK CDs. $2.99 should be looking to turn that into 15 to 20. And Maxwell DVDs, again, a stack of 50, should be looking to turn that into 15 to 20. If they weren't sealed, I definitely wouldn't have picked them up because you never know how many have been taken out, what they've been switched with, if there's even anything on them. Someone could have loaded loads of footage and you didn't even know about it. So avoid them unless they're sealed. We've got this 2000 AD Ultimate Collection. It's the Nemesis of the Warlock story. It's not something that I was into before or anything like that. As soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it and it made me want to read it. So me and my partner are actually going to sit down and read through these. We think it would be a bit of fun and also have something to collect. It's nice to sort of actively look for a collection to kind of complete and finish the story, I guess. Find out what happens at the end. It's like a comic book, but a bit more of an adult story. So if you think Marvel's quite tame, this has a lot more edgy, blood and gore sort of stuff going on in it. We have volume 2. We also have volume 3. Isn't a hardback, it's the paperback version. So there's actually a color part in this as well, in the middle. Really like to see how it's all been done. I don't know, it's just so impressive. Like, can you do that? I can't do that. Really looking forward to reading through these. On to the final pickup of the day. As a video editor, I really like to look at the behind the scenes of how stuff was made, especially with films or TV series, shows, YouTube videos. So when I spotted this, I had to pick it up and I'm really looking forward to flicking through it. It's the kick-ass book, creating the movie from the comic. I had a little flick through in the shop just to make sure I knew what I was buying. And they've got a bunch of scenes in there and like stuff like this where it's like a shot from the movie and then a shot from the comic and how they've basically recreated the visions that they had in the comics into the real life film. I just find it really interesting to see how even with telling stories, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. They already had a great story, Kick-Ass, as the comic book. They just turned that into a movie. They don't need to recreate all these brand new scenes. They can just take all the scenes that were in the comic. So they made one story and then turned it into multiple different formats so that all kinds of people can interact with it, whether it's from the comic to the film to this book. But I paid 99p for it, and it was originally selling in HMV, I think that is, for £15. Online, I think they only go for like 4 or 5 quid, something like that, so it's not a big flip, but I'm going to be adding this one into my collection. That was everything that I did pick up at the charity shop over the past couple of days. You saw the gaming haul. I'm still a bit bitter about some of the games I missed out on, but I've got to be grateful for the ones I came away with. And then we went back the next day and there was even more finds for us to bring home, like those books and DVDs, even the blank CDs. I'm placing a spending ban on myself for the next 3 weeks because I've got way too much stock and I've been addicted to sourcing at the moment. I know it's the thrill of the hunt, we've all got it, we all share that passion, but we have to have a balance in our business. We need to be disciplined, and that's the lesson I'm trying to teach myself through this spending ban. If you're in a similar situation, you've got a load of stock that you're sat on and you're just not listing it, maybe you should join me in this 3-week spending ban, and all the time that you would normally be out sourcing, you now spend sorting through the stock in your business. The idea is not just to get caught up to the day, but to actually get ahead of ourselves potentially for the next weeks or months to come. If we can do that, it means that we've created ourselves some breathing space and we can prioritize other things like working on the YouTube, getting ahead there, engaging with you guys in the community a lot more, hosting more giveaways, and other cool things that I've got lined up. But that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If there's anything that you want to see from me, let me know in the comments down below. I'm happy and open to taking ideas. I want to know what you guys want to see as much as I'm I'm happy to just create what I want to create. So let me know down in the comments. But be sure to smash the like button, tap subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. There were some good titles and there was some good, and at the time, I was a little bit pissed. I had that fear at the time, but I still came away with an absolute. The front manual is in pretty bad condition. It's had some water damage to it. It's a bit of a shame, but I've got another copy, so I'm hoping to sort of switch them out. It is a little bit picked up. None of the titles are anything crazy or anything like. There's no inbox manual. All of these are complete inbox with the manuals. And then last but not least for the Game Boy, we got Scooby-Doo Cyber Attack. The other games is V5. The last game I got was Ridge Racer 5. Unfortunately, the 13 XIII. Yeah, it does have the manual, but the disc is like Tantrix Game Pack. Yes. So even though they're all games, they actually. How will I want to say this? I traded in a bunch of games that I would just. It also came with the Mario Sunshine poster. Let's turn this into a game cave. These, that's all of that. I know, I'm trying to get through it quick. Got this action. I wasn't sure what this was at first. The bit just fell out as well. But I picked up these TDK, the 2.9. I picked up these TD50. But it's like a comic book, a bit more adult. And the final pickup of the day, onto the final pickup of the day, is the kick-ass creating. So they made one story, and then have then turned it into formats. But I'm looking. That was everything that I did pick up at the charity shop. But over the next coming weeks, I've decided. So if you're in a similar situation, you've got a load of Ridge Raver.